Tone is everything. Wait, what's that supposed to mean? Does she also hear a caveman? Well, I mean, how can I stop when he just keeps giving me the perfect opportunity to insult him? Hello, and welcome back to Therapist Plays Doki Doki Literature Club. All right, so we have actually completed the main series of this show. And this is where I normally just move on to the next game, but I actually do want to dive into some of the extra content here because I'm just not ready. I'm just not ready to say goodbye fully. So I thought we would start with the side stories, but I actually realized that you kind of need to see the other routes to unlock them. So we're just going to dive straight into Natsuki's route. And many of you let me know that there's actually an additional ending that we can achieve if we come back to the beginning around the festival and collect the other special scenes. And I was also kind of suspecting that when I got through the credits and the scenes that I hadn't collected were like grayed out. And then we'll come back for the side stories. This is going to be a much more laid back part of this series. I do consider the series complete now. So this is all just extra credit for fun. And we will be evading a significant portion of the trauma stuff this time. But that doesn't mean that things won't still get quite heavy. Because we know that there's stuff going on with Natsuki and Sayori as well. And we'd like to learn more about that. So, we're back. You can't hurt me now, game. Yeah, I've been through it already. All right, so let's get a little anime Brady back in there. This wouldn't be right without him at this point. And this time I am actually going to use the skip feature quite a bit because we've already analyzed quite thoroughly the dialogue that sets the scenario up, but we'll still go through some of it as we branch out into these other routes. So I'll just try to be mindful of what I've seen or not. Speed Sayori. Oh my god, the memories are flooding back. Hooray! Trauma dodged. Okay, so we need to choose some words that Natsuki would like because she deserves the spotlight. And we know that she likes cute things. So I'm going to choose lots of cute words like kiss, cheeks, boop. Let's do bouncy, fluffy, cute. It's gotta be Natsuki. Pink, marshmallow, sparkle. Oh, sparkle is a Sayori word. That's cute. And I did make sure to make a save at the beginning of this so that we can come right back to this point. There's a nice little crossover between Sayori and Natsuki. Yuri is getting absolutely rejected in this playthrough. She had her time. She had her chance with Anime Brady. She blew it, to be honest. And now it's all the other two. Beauty. Bliss. And let's do nibble. Candy. Ah, finally, it's Natsuki's moment. Hi again, Brady. Oh my god, the flashbacks. Glad to see you didn't run away on us. Nah, don't worry. This might be a little strange for me, but I at least keep my word. Back at the literature club, I was the last one to come in, so everyone else is already hanging out. Thanks for keeping your promise, Brady. I hope this isn't too overwhelming of a commitment for you. Making you dive headfirst into literature when you're not accustomed to it. Come on. Like he deserves any slack. That's right, Natsuki, lay it into him. I actually am super excited to see what their dynamic is like because I feel like we had not the best impact on Yuri, to be honest. It was a toxic relationship where we both just kind of fed on each other's awkwardness and dumbed each other down a little bit. Sayori told me you didn't even want to join any clubs this year. And last year, too. I feel like we're going to have to fight for Natsuki's, like, favor, whereas, you know, Yuri was hooked right away. Which, as I said, is kind of sad, because all we've done really is just give her basic validation. I don't think Natsuki will be quite as easily fooled. I don't know if you just plan to come here and hang out or whatever. See, she's immediately suspicious, and she has every right to be. But if you don't take us seriously, then you won't see the end of it. Natsuki, you certainly have a big mouth for someone who keeps her manga collection in the club room. Natsuki finds herself stuck between saying Monika and manga. Manga is literature. That's right, girls. Stand up for yourself. Swiftly defeated, Natsuki plops back into her seat. Okay, so we know the setup here. So I'm gonna skip ahead to... a unique moment with Natsuki. I hear Natsuki utter an exasperated sigh from within the closet. She seems to be annoyed by something. I approach her, in case she needs a hand. You looking for something in there? Freaking Monika. See, she is on to suspicious characters. Which does tell me that she has a pretty good intuition for her own feelings as well. Because I could see in a lot of cases, maybe like in Yuri's case, taking a moment like that where Monika really put her on the spot in a very negative way, like she knew that this would upset Natsuki by calling out the manga thing. I could see Yuri and others with her kind of anxiety internalizing that and being like more self-ashamed versus redirecting that energy actually back towards the person who really made a pretty salacious comment that we can pretty easily see now is actually designed to upset Natsuki. You know, knock her down a peg. I actually think it's a good thing that she's not taking this onto herself, but is actually correctly identifying Monika as not being too kind here. She never puts my stuff back in the right spot. What's the point in keeping your collection organized if someone else is just going to mess it up? Natsuki slides a bunch of stacked books and boxes across the shelf. Manga? You read manga, right? Sometimes. Manga's one of those things where you can't admit you're really into it until you figure out where the other person stands. As if Anime Brady didn't have enough to fear already. He is like one of the most rejectable people. Just as his baseline. But I do feel like his interest in manga gives him a nice little inroad with Natsuki. Let's see if he fumbles it. How did you know, anyway? I heard you bring it up at some point. Besides, it's kind of written on your face. What is that supposed to mean? I see. There's a lone volume of manga amidst a stack of various books on the side of one of the shelves. Curious, I pull it out of the stack. There it is. Natsuki snatches it out of my hand. She then turns to a box of manga and slips the volume right into the middle of the rest. Much better. Seeing a box set with one book missing is probably the most irritating sight in the world. So she's kind of like a completionist. Very organized. Likes things neat. We also know that she's got a thing for aesthetics. You know, putting like the cat ears on her cupcakes. Which is what I love about Natsuki. She's got such a like outwardly simple presentation, but a very like complex inner world. Which is where I think a lot of that difficulty with prejudice comes through for her. People want to narrow her down into like essentially tropes. I mean, we know this is a game about tropes, but she lives as someone who is constantly having to fight against people's biases. And so that makes her kind of proud and I think protective over really sharing some of her complex inner world. Which also kind of adds to the problem, right? Because the less of that she shows, the more people simplify her. So I'm curious to see what actually gets her to open up here. If this one shared interest is enough. I know that feel. I get a closer look at the box that she's admiring. Parfait Girls. It's a series I've never heard of in my life. That probably means it's either way out of my demographic, or it's simply terrible. Yeah, because he just has impeccable taste. This is why I really wanted to go around for another set. It's just more ammunition for my favorite character to dog on. If you're gonna judge, you can do it through the glass on that door. She points to the classroom door. Hey, I wasn't judging or anything. You actually were. You actually were, Anime Brady. You were literally judging the quality of the book and registering that with your impression of her as a person. I didn't even say anything. It was the tone of your voice. Ooh, actually, speaking of tone, her affect here is not my usual Natsuki sass. It's actually a lot more matter of fact. It was the tone of your voice. God, she really does just have a good intuition for that. She has a really good intuition for reading paralanguage. Now, I've talked about this in the past, so I'm not going to dive too deeply into it, but what I will say is that language is the things that we say. It's the actual words coming out. You're late, right? Paralanguage is how we fill in the blanks for what someone's intention with their language is, especially when the statement is really brief like that, like you're late. And so we try to intuit other context behind a statement like that. And we do so by reading facial features. We do so by reading tone of voice, taking into account the history of the person and our relationship and all of those things. So even though I'm just saying a simple sentence like, you're late, paralanguage is that second sentence you hear based on the tone of my voice that says, you're late. And I don't think you have a good reason for being late. Like, I didn't say that, but we assemble that context from the paralanguage, which tells me multiple things about Natsuki. The fact that she's so good at reading that means that she has a lot of practice with it. So someone in her life, probably the parents, is giving her pretty curt and simplified feedback, often requiring her to read in a lot what the real intention is behind that. I also think that that's why she can clock Monika so well as more antagonistic all throughout the story, but especially here at the beginning, is she's really good at understanding that Monika is like insulting someone or downplaying their qualities or making a light of one of their issues. You know, she can sense that little like judgmentalness and sinister nature of, okay, everyone. like I've been exaggerating those little moments because like that's what I'm often doing. I'm listening for paralanguage because I'm often sitting in front of people, in front of clients who, you know, they may not know me very well just yet, and they may communicate in brief parcels of language. And so I'm often reading for paralanguage too, right? And I will make light of certain things when someone says the classic, you know, hey, how has your day been? And they're like, fine. Okay, but the paralanguage of that statement is like all the stuff that you also said with your nonverbal communication. The second sentence I hear when someone's like, yeah, I'm fine, is like, I don't really want to tell you what's going on, or I don't know what's going on. So I'll usually make a little observation of that and say something like, you know, when you said that, I noticed that you kind of shrugged your shoulders and you were frowning a bit. What's behind that? And sometimes they'll go deeper into it and they'll say, nothing. And the paralanguage says, something. And it's like, okay, you know, the more hesitation to do that, like I'm not going to keep pushing. I probably need to develop some more rapport, or it's just not a good moment. But often the case is when you listen to paralanguage from people who are not doing it to withhold information or manipulate, like a little bit of what Monika does, but when someone doesn't know how to capture their feelings and they're like, I guess I'm fine, and you make that observation, yeah, you know, you shrugged and you frowned when you said that. Is there anything behind that? Well, I guess, you know, I am upset about this thing. Being able to read people's paralanguage and identify it and communicate your understanding of it or even just that you saw it, can be quite an empathizing and validating thing. So this is a huge advantage for communication for someone like Natsuki, who can both use it to detect when people are being confrontational and are trying to mask that, people who are being evasive and trying to seem non-judgmental, like Anime Brady here, but also to relate closer to people who may struggle to articulate themselves clearly, which is why I also think she's pretty good with Yuri and Sayori when she wants to be, right? She's able to pull out that paralanguage context from what they're saying. And this is the crazy thing about paralanguage and language, is that most of the time we are reacting to the paralanguage anyways. Like, out of those two sentences, "you're late," and the imagined sentence of "and I'm mad at you for it," we tend to respond emotionally to that imagined sentence. Now, why do we do that? Well, that's a good question, because we're clearly favoring an emotional reaction to something that we are having to read into. And this is a big problem in lots of romantic relationships, especially. Like so many little interactions, like, where do you want to go to dinner? Oh, I'm okay with anywhere. And it's like, we just ignore that because we're hearing a paralanguage sentence that's like, well, I don't want to decide because I don't care about going with you. And it's like, that probably was not spoken out loud. It might have been assembled from little context cues, but this can get you into trouble if you're reading too much and favoring paralanguage over someone's actual language. So it's just something to be mindful of. It's about how you interpret things from people. And if you don't know, ask for clarification, right? Be direct with people, as Natsuki is doing here, because she's about to explain to us how she assembled that understanding based on what we said to her. But I'll tell you one thing, Brady. Consider this a lesson straight from the literature club. Don't judge a book by its cover. In fact, Natsuki pulls out the first volume of Parfait Girls from the box. I'm going to show you exactly why. She shoves the book right into my hands. I stare at the cover. It features 4 girls in colorful attire, striking animated feminine poses. It's exceedingly moe. I do not know what that term means, so someone will have to explain it to me. Don't just stand there. Oh! Natsuki grabs my arm and pulls me out of the closet. She then takes a seat against the wall beneath the windowsills. She pats on the ground next to her, signaling me to sit there. Wouldn't chairs be more comfortable? I take my seat. Chairs wouldn't work. We can't read at the same time like that. Yeah, Yuri. What do you think of that? And Natsuki calling out your strategy is unlikely to bag us. Why is that? I guess it's easier to be close together like this. Don't just say that. You make me feel weird about it. Natsuki crosses her arms and scooshes an inch away from me. He's losing inches here. Sorry. I didn't exactly expect to be sitting this close to her either. Not that I can say it's a particularly bad thing. I open the book. It's only a few seconds before Natsuki once again inches closer, reclaiming the additional space, while she hopes I won't notice. I can feel her peering over my shoulder, much more eager to begin reading than I am. Wow, how long has it been since I read the beginning? You don't go back and flip through the older volumes every now and then? Not really. Maybe sometimes after I've already finished the series. Hey, are you paying attention? I am, but nothing's really happened yet, so I can talk at the same time. It looks like it's about a bunch of friends in high school. Typical slice of life affair. I kind of grew out of these, since it's rare for the writing to be entertaining enough to make up for the lack of plot. So, what should I expect from this? I bet she's gonna clock this as well. Is there gonna be a plot? So what's the second sentence you hear there? I'm not enjoying this, right? And that's the thing, even when you're trying to be delicate with someone, that may not be Brady's intention here to say, I'm not enjoying this experience. But that may be what he's communicating implicitly by how he's saying it. Well, obviously, you think I would enjoy something that didn't have a plot? What did I say? What did I say? She's clearly recognizing that he thinks this is unenjoyable. Maybe she's even hearing sentences like, and I think it's really uninteresting of you to like this. I mean, well, I guess I know what you're saying. A lot of the beginning is about simple things. Like, there's a really funny chapter where they're obsessed with a guy at the ice cream shop. But that just helps you get to know the characters. And I actually would connect those two things and say that, like, the reason Natsuki is the type of person who likes this kind of story, like, she's willing to invest in something that takes a while to pay off, is really up there with this quality of hers of, like, reading and understanding people. She doesn't jump the gun on stories, nor does she try to jump the gun on people. And besides, it's still entertaining. But later on, there's all kinds of drama. We all know the difficulty of trying to explain to someone that things get better. Like when they get into all their backstories, and when some of the romance starts to happen. Ooh, romance. That's really what makes it so good. There's so many touching parts. Ah. Is that so? And that's like, I think that's my bias. The paralanguage I hear from some of these statements is like, dumb. I hear these sentences like, is that so? I didn't realize that. And you see how reactive I am to, like, on the surface, he's saying very simple things, but I hear a caveman in his paralanguage. It sounds like you really know what you're talking about. Maybe I underestimated you. Tone is everything. I'm just playing around with him now. Hey, wait. What's that supposed to mean? Always listening with that very curious ear, Natsuki. What is it supposed to mean? Does she also hear a caveman? Well, I mean, how can I stop when he just keeps giving me the perfect opportunity to insult him? Natsuki gives me a little shove. It just meant that I haven't yet seen you at your full power. Good save. This chapter seems like it's about baking. This is just a guess, but is there a lot of baking in this manga? Well, actually, I don't know. I'm not perfect at reading paralanguage either. Sometimes, especially if it's just text, like, I'll get the wrong read on it. Natsuki pauses for a moment, as if she doesn't want to admit something. Yeah. Why does that matter? It doesn't. I was just curious. So she heard the sentence, like, is there a lot of baking in here? Like, similar kind of thing. When does it get good? Or, does it matter to me that much? Since you enjoy baking too, right? Ooh, actually, that's a good save there, Anime Brady. He's showing that he remembers her other interests. Now, to actually, like, get on Natsuki's side, you also have to do a lot of this. I'm not going to call it mind reading, because it's not really. It's not the same thing. But understanding of subtext and paralanguage. Because as this kind of brash character with a soft, sweet inner side, many times what she's saying is very, like, push you away. But there is often like but I want to get close. That's just a coincidence. I just happened to get into baking around the same time that I got this manga. Like I would ever get into anything because it's in a manga. Girl, don't lie. I feel bad for anyone that impressionable. Ha! I'm reading something else from you, Natsuki. and it's okay. Definitely not a coincidence. He's matching up. He's matching up to reading her paralanguage here. Once again, random dice rolls in terms of his perceptiveness. Sometimes he really nails it. I guess that explains Natsuki's interest in baking. Still, hobbies to pick up from a manga, that's definitely one of the better ones. Not to mention, she's really good at it. So who am I to judge? An idiot with a good heart. We read on for a few more minutes. I finished a couple chapters at this point. Are you sure this isn't boring for you? It's not. Even though you're just watching me read? Well, I'm fine with that. You say so. And sometimes the paralanguage matches up really nicely. Like, I'm fine with that. The only other sentence I hear is, I'm fine with that. Like, I don't hear a second part of that recontextualizes the first. And I think that's what also helps us understand when people are being more clear in their communication is you're saying what you're saying. And it doesn't feel like there's a sort of hidden second half to that. I guess it's fun sharing something you like with someone else. I always get excited when I convince any of my friends to pick up a series I enjoy. You know what I mean? You don't? That's not... Well, I wouldn't really know. What do you mean? Don't you share your manga with your friends? Could you not rub it in? Oh... So what did she hear there? Do you not share your manga with your friends? Like, she must have heard you don't have friends to share this with, or you're not close enough with them to share it, or she heard something like that. Oh, that's so sad. We didn't mean it, Natsuki. He's actually being good in this route so far. Jeez. Sorry. Like I could ever get my friends to read this. They just think manga's for kids. I can't even bring it up without them being all like, you still haven't grown out of that yet? Makes me want to punch them in the face. Ugh, I know those kinds of people. Honestly, it takes a lot of effort to find friends who don't judge, much less friends who are also into it. I'm already kind of a loser. What can I say? He sets me up for this. So I guess I gravitated toward the other losers over time. But it's probably harder for someone like you. Ooh, that's a classic trap. It's so hard to say someone like you without implying a huge range of things. She could take anything from that. Yeah, that's pretty... What? I'm stunned. Wait, which part? Yeah, that's actually what I'm wondering. I mean, I feel like I can't even keep it in my own room. I don't even know what my dad would do if he found this. Hopefully nothing, because it's not a big fucking deal, and also none of his fucking business. At least it's safe here in the club room. Except Monika was kind of a jerk about it. Can we please get people to stop judging this poor girl for something so innocent? I just can't win, can I? Well, it paid off in the end, didn't it? I mean, here I am, reading it. Well, it's not like that solves any of my problems. Yeah, Brady, it doesn't. But it is a nice thing of you to say. You're creating a safe space for her where she doesn't really have one anywhere else. And we know this from the other route, that this is kind of all she has. So do not fuck it up for her. Maybe. But at least you're enjoying yourself, right? So? Jeez. That's enough. Are you gonna keep reading or what? Yeah. I flipped the page. Suddenly, Natsuki starts laughing. I totally forgot that happens. This is actually a really sweet encounter. Like, she's literally just enjoying watching us read and enjoy and discover the thing that she likes, which I think is having a very healing effect because it's giving her a reflection of her own interest that is not negative. Like, every time she reflects it to Monika, it's insulted. She can't reflect it at home. Clearly, it's like, you know, not accepted or would even be taken away from her. And what a validating thing to just have someone like not only not insult you for it, but actually take enjoyment in it. Great job, Anime Brady. You're doing something great here. Do not fuck it up. Natsuki puts her finger on one of the panels. Minari is my favorite character. You always feel a little bad for her since she's so unlucky. But it gets especially bad when... I shouldn't be talking about that yet. Just finish the chapter. Oh, it's so sweet. Natsuki's voice sparkles with excitement. Oh, I love that. It's a stark contrast to her usual bossy tone. And there is the coming together of all of these ideas. Natsuki maybe feels like she has to outwardly project a stronger sense of paralanguage, this bossiness, because when she aligns herself naturally with what she wants to say, it's not taken seriously. And here comes this boy, this dumb but very kind boy who validates her, says dumb things to her, but then also says really nice things to her. I like this interaction. They're fun together. But if she's not used to sharing her favorite manga with her friends, I can understand why. It's hard to express in words the feeling you get when connecting with someone like that. And being able to provide that to Natsuki, for whom it's a rare experience, the thought makes me smile a little to myself. He's such an enigma, this kid. He just dips into this like emotional depth every once in a while. But then it's like, after he dips into it, it seeps through his fingers. But what a perceptive, nice comment to make, at least right here. Okay, everyone. Are you all ready for today's poems? Oh, come on. Could your timing be any worse? And that's the other thing. She can really clock this on Monika. Sorry. I'm not sorry. I just needed to make sure we have enough time. I just wanted to interrupt you. Monika is like riddled with obvious contrasting paralanguage. Though you do look pretty cozy over there. I hate everything about what I'm seeing. Like, now that we know Monika's inner problems, it's quite easy to peer through the language part of what she's saying. Natsuki suddenly notices how close she's gotten to me. She hastily slides herself a good 12 inches away from me. All right, guess I'll stop here for now. I close the book and hand it towards Natsuki. You're just giving it back? Don't you want to know what happens? Yeah, but Monika just said, don't be dumb. Just take it home with you. Is that really all right? I say that mostly because I really didn't plan on using my spare time to read this. Well, of course. It would take forever to finish if you didn't take it home. Just finish that one before tomorrow so we can start the next one. Oh, shit. Bossy Natsuki is back. And if it gets bent, I'll kill you. Damn. A little bit of power language in here, though, is I'm playing around, and I'm really excited that you're enjoying this so much. I love it. I'm sparkling like her. By tomorrow. I only got partway through the volume so far. I might fall behind on some shows if I try to get through this. Do not fumble this, Brady. This is everything to her. But I suppose that's a necessary sacrifice in exchange for seeing Natsuki's enthusiastic face. Oh, man. The whiplash he gives me. I was almost concerned there for a second. Or am I more scared of what will happen if I don't finish it? All right then. I stand up. I return to where I put my stuff and carefully slip the book into my bag. By the way, did you remember to write a poem last night? Yeah. My relaxation ends. I can't believe I agreed to do something so embarrassing. I couldn't really find much inspiration since I've never really done this before. Well, now that everyone's ready, why don't you find someone to share it with? I can't wait! Sayori and Monika enthusiastically pull out their poems. Sayori's is on a wrinkled sheet of loose leaf, torn from a spiral notebook. Okay, we're not going to go through these again because we're actually going to work our way back to Sayori eventually too. But I do want to check out Natsuki and I guess it's worth checking out Monika's now that I know a little bit more about what's going on with her. I told Natsuki I was interested in her poems yesterday. It's probably only fair I shared mine with her first. Okay, well, let's start with the things I don't like. First of all, Natsuki rereads my poem. Never mind. I don't feel like giving you my opinion. Maybe a little bit of, I'm starting to like you and I don't want to hurt your feelings. What's the point of sharing in the first place? I wrote this when I could have been doing other things. In fact, remember how I said I wanted to read your poems? That's what I had in mind when writing this. Smooth, Brady, smooth. I want to help you feel comfortable enough to share yours, like Monika said. Well, I'd be more comfortable sharing my poem if yours was really bad. You were supposed to show me some dumb poem and make me go, ha, well, it's not that great, but let me show you what a real literature looks like. Oh, I think that's like almost exactly what she said before. And you went and ruined it. I hope you're happy. So, in other words, you're saying you liked it. Good read on that there, Brady. This is like such a delicate back and forth of trying to parse whether the language and paralanguage match sentence by sentence. You can see how complicated communication in general gets, especially for those who have a harder time parsing communication than others. Thinking especially about like neurodivergence in this case. Missing out on social cues. It's pretty hard to catch all of them for neurotypical people, but now just imagine trying to do that on like extra hard mode. Natsuki's retort gets caught in her throat. You don't understand anything, do you? I already told you that. You don't have to go announcing it to the world like you're all self-important. Pretty sure you never actually said that. I say that mostly to myself. Natsuki must really hate me or something. I can't figure out if it's a win or a loss that she liked my poem. In any case, you still need to show me yours, right? Fine, I guess. Only because Monika will make me if I don't. Eagles can fly, monkeys can climb, crickets can leap, horses can race, owls can seek, cheetahs can run, eagles can fly, people can try. But that's about it. I love it so much. We've already done our like thorough reading on it though. Yeah, I told you, you weren't gonna like it. I like it. What? Just be honest. Ooh, a little miss there when he said, I like it. She might have heard, I'm just trying to be nice to you. But really I don't. And now he must clarify. I am. Why are you so convinced that I wouldn't like it? Well, it's not actually all Anime Brady's fault here. Like I said, I think that Natsuki has a pretty good intuition and instinct for listening to paralanguage, but it's probably a little overtuned at times. Like, she's great at understanding Monika's dual intentions and likely her parents. And she was skeptical of Brady as well. At this point, though, we're being pretty genuine with her. And that's confusing because she keeps trying to read into a paralanguage that's like more dismissive and judgmental, and it's like not really there right now. Like he's being pretty earnest, which is surprising for her. And if you're someone who struggles with insecurity, especially in romantic relationships, you may be kind of struggling with this too. When maybe you've had some trust issues in past relationships or been betrayed by someone, and you meet someone genuine and you're constantly trying to like figure out if what you're getting is real. It's very frustrating for the person who's trying to be genuine, right? Because I might be speaking clearly like, I really like spending time with you. And I mean, I really like spending time with you. But the other person is like, you're trying to get something from me and you're going to leave me eventually. And so we build kind of this inner fear and hesitation to trust, because in past relationships, you might have bought into sentences and statements from past partners that sounded convincing, that were like, you can trust me, I'm always going to be with you. And then they turned out to be a fucking liar. And so now you're listening for that same cue. The next person says, I trust you and I want to be with you. And you're like, well, what if I ignore what you just said and I intuit that actually you're saying you're going to leave me at some point? It's difficult for both people because you actually were betrayed before. And so you're right to take more interest in understanding paralanguage. But for the person who's being genuine, it can feel really mistrusting without feeling like you've given any evidence to the person to be mistrusting. And so this like does come up in couples work a lot, in how people communicate with one another, and these sort of like ways that they're kind of going back and forth on what are you saying and what do you mean. Oftentimes I'll catch little interactions where I'm like saying to one of the partners, okay, when your partner said that, what do you think they meant? And then I'll go to the other one and say, is that what you meant? And he'll go, no, that's not what I meant. And it's like, oh, okay, we just caught something that probably normally just gets completely skipped over. And you've both internalized the incorrect message from the other person on like such a small scale, but it could probably happen 20 times a day, let's say. And then it makes it difficult to trust. And you feel like you have to sort of compose someone's thoughts out of paralanguage constantly. It's like exhausting as well. But yeah, my understanding of Natsuki would be that she's trained herself to listen for that because of how many people have manipulated, judged, told her one thing and did something else. And here she's meeting a pretty earnest idiot in Anime Brady. And it is like hard to integrate that. Well, because everyone in high school thinks that writing has to be all sophisticated and stuff. So people don't even take my writing seriously. But isn't the point of poems for people to express themselves? Your writing style wouldn't make your message any less valid. Yes, exactly. I like when it's easy to read, but it hits you hard. Me too, Natsuki. That's my favorite thing about her writing, which is that it's almost like there's a little bit of paralanguage in it too, but not so much that it's hard to understand. Like in this poem, seeing everyone around you do great things can be really disheartening, so I decided to write about it. Yeah, I understand. But the other nice thing about simple writing is that it puts more weight on the wordplay. Like, I set up a rhyme at the end, but then made it fall flat on purpose. It helps bring out the feeling in the last line. So you did. I guess more went into it than I realized. That's what it means to be a pro. I'm glad you learned something. Didn't expect that from the youngest one here, did you? Yeah, I guess not. I decided to humor her with that last comment. I don't really care how old everyone is, but if Natsuki's feeling proud, then I won't take that away from her. I like when he's sweet. Okay. We're gonna go through these ones. Oh. Oh, I don't think I picked any Yuri words, so I don't think she's even gonna talk to us. Yuri stares at the poem. A minute passes. More than enough time for her to finish reading. Damn. Oh. Sorry. I forgot to start speaking. It's fine. Don't force yourself. I'm not. I just need to put my thoughts into words. Hold on. Okay. This is your first time writing a poem, right? Yeah. Why do you ask? I'm just making sure. I guess that it might be after reading through it. Ah, so it's that bad. See, he took that paralanguage there like, this is your first poem. It's obvious by how bad it is. No. Did I just raise my voice? I'm so sorry, and that's the unintended consequence of... You're not in control of what people hear when your intonation kind of conceals things. Yuri buries her face in her hands. I couldn't help but notice that it's been several minutes. We haven't really gotten anywhere. It might take Yuri a while to get used to new people. It's fine. I really didn't notice. What were you saying? Right. It's just that there are specific writing habits that are usually typical of new writers. And having been through that myself, I kind of learned to pick up on them. Okay, and now it's giving us the option to skip. So, we've seen this. It's nothing really. Well, it makes me happy that you think that. Just remember, it won't be long before you pick up on these things too. Yeah, maybe you're right. I guess I'll have to keep trying. I'm counting on you. All right, let's check out Monika's. Hi, Brady. Having a good time so far? Ooh. Yeah. Good. Glad to hear it. From Monika, I now hear like a novel of paralanguage under every comment that's like, good. Glad to hear it. My soul is trapped in an endless cycle of killing my friends and then myself and having no purpose in my life, and nothing I do or say is meaningful in any sort of way. So why say it at all? But I have to say it to get to the point where I reset myself, because there's at least some meaning in recycling my life rather than just living stuck in a denial that does nothing for me. At least that's what I hear when she says it. By the way, since you're new and everything, if you ever have any suggestions for the club, like new activities or things we can do better, I'm always listening. I'm always listening. Don't be afraid to bring things up, okay? All right, I'll keep that in mind. Of course, I'll be afraid to bring things up. I'm much better off just going with the flow until I'm more settled in. Anyway, want to share your poem with me? It's kind of embarrassing, but I guess so. Don't worry, Brady. We're all a little embarrassed today, you know? But it's that sort of barrier that we'll all get past soon. Yeah, that's true. I hand Monika my poem. I like it, Brady. Really? It's a lot cuter than I expected. Oh, geez. No. It kind of makes me think of something Natsuki would write. And she's a good writer, too. So take that as a compliment. I agree. I think Natsuki's a great writer. If you say so. Yep. There are lots of poems or stories out there that are no more than a few simple words. They can be funny, endearing, or even sad. And sometimes they're only a few lines long. They might even feel like they're written for kids, but if you think about them, they can express views of the world that would apply to anybody. I see. So you're saying that Natsuki is kind of like that? Sort of. Maybe she's not an expert, but you probably won't find much filler in her poems. They might be easy to write, but they're super challenging to get the meaning through. So I can see why it would be your kind of poem to explore. I'm sure I'll end up trying different things a lot. It could take a while before I feel comfortable doing this. That's okay. I'd love to see you try new things. That's the best way to find the kind of style that suits you. And this is where I think that even in her trapped nightmare, she's still being pretty genuine. Like, I think she genuinely likes this stuff, literature, poems. Like, I buy into what she's saying extends outside of this reality. Like, before she was self-aware, that she just enjoys clever wordplay and writing and stuff. Everyone else might be a little biased towards their own kind of styles, but I'll always help you find what suits you the most. So don't force yourself to write the way everyone else wants to write. It's not like you have to worry about impressing them or anything. Anyway, do you want to read my poem now? Yes, I have been waiting. Don't worry, I'm not very good. You sound pretty confident for someone who claims to not be very good. Well, that's because I just have to sound confident. That doesn't mean I always feel that way, you know? I see. Let's read it then. Okay. Hole in wall. It couldn't have been me. See the direction the spackle protrudes. A noisy neighbor, an angry boyfriend. I'll never know I wasn't home. I peer inside for a clue. No, I can't see. I reel, blind, like a film left out in the sun. But it's too late, my retinas. Already scorched with a permanent copy of the meaningless image. It's just a little hole that wasn't too bright. It was too deep. Stretching forever into everything. A hole of infinite choices. I realize now that I wasn't looking in. I was looking out, and he, on the other side, was looking in. So this must be a hole in the wall of, like, her reality. Noisy neighbor and angry boyfriend, I'll never know I wasn't home. So she's, like, noticed some kind of disturbance. She's blinded. A permanent copy of the meaningless image. It's still pretty abstract. I mean, I can parse that it's about like her discovery of her reality and that sort of thing, but actually I think that's one of the neat things about Monika knowing her situation is that like she's still coping with it by like writing poetry, which is kind of interesting when you think about it. Like that's definitely a character trait of hers and gets into like what I'm saying, that she really just does enjoy literature and poetry and creating, and even despite the discovery of, you know, her reality and that she's trapped in it, she's still writing poetry. Like, I think that's great, actually. It's one of her only ways of making sense of things at this point. And she did that all up until the end with like the piano song and some of her later poems. So, what do you think? It's very freeform. I'm not really the right person to ask for feedback. It's okay. Yeah, that style has gotten pretty popular nowadays. Emphasis on the timing between words. What was the inspiration behind this one? I'm not sure if I know how to put it. I guess you could say that I had some kind of epiphany recently. It's been influencing my poems a bit. So she's at the early stage of, like, unwinding at this point, though. Still trying to make sense of her situation through poetry. An epiphany. Yeah, something like that. I'm kind of nervous to talk about deep stuff like that because it's kind of coming on strongly. Maybe after everyone's better friends with each other. Anyway, here's Monika's writing tip of the day. Sometimes when you're writing a poem or a story, your brain gets too fixated on a specific point. If you try so hard to make it perfect, then you'll never make any progress. Just force yourself to get something down on the paper and tidy it up later. Another way to think about it is, if you keep your pen in the same spot for too long, you just get a big dark puddle of ink. So just move your hand and go with the flow. That's my advice for today. Thanks for listening. Whew. Okay. Whew. I guess that's everyone. I glance around the room. It's a little more stressful than I anticipated. It's as if everyone is judging me for my mediocre writing abilities. Even if they're just being nice, there's no way my poems can stand up to theirs. This is a literature club after all. I guess that's what I ended up getting myself into. Across the room, Sayori and Monika are happily chatting. My eyes land on Yuri and Natsuki. They gingerly exchange sheets of paper, sharing their respective poems. As they read in tandem, I watch each of their expressions change. Natsuki's eyebrows furrow in frustration. So I know this is where they fight, but it's interesting to go back over it with our perspective kind of more trained on Natsuki's reactions. Meanwhile, Yuri smiles sadly. What's with this language? Did you say something? Oh, it's nothing. It's something. Natsuki dismissively returns the poem to the desk with one hand. I didn't like this. I guess you could say it's fancy. I don't have anything nice to say about it. Thanks. Yours is cute. I think it's dumb. Cute? Did you completely miss the symbolism or something? And this is... pay attention to how this turns into like an actual fight, is the misfire of language and paralanguage back and forth here. Did you miss the point of symbolism or something? I think you're a fucking idiot. And we actually got that version of the fight at some point. It's clearly about the feeling of giving up. How can that be cute? I know that. I didn't get it because I think it's stupid. And I think you're a low intelligence person. I just meant the language, I guess. It's for babies. I was trying to say something nice. This, I think, is pretty clear. You mean you have to try that hard to come up with something nice to say? Thanks. But it really didn't come out nice at all. Well, I do have a couple of suggestions. If I was looking for suggestions, I would have asked someone who actually liked it. Which people did, by the way. Sayori liked it. And Brady did too. Well, Natsuki, Sayori kind of likes everything. And Brady likes whatever he gets from people that he's trying to talk to. So based on that, I'll gladly give you some suggestions of my own. First of all, excuse me. I appreciate the offer, but I've spent a long time establishing my writing style. I don't expect it to change anytime soon, unless, of course, I come across something particularly inspiring, which I haven't yet. And Brady liked my poem too, you know. He even told me that he was impressed by it. Natsuki suddenly stands up. Oh, I didn't realize you were so invested in trying to impress our new member, Yuri. That's not what you're just... Yuri stands up as well. Maybe you're just jealous that Brady appreciates my advice more than he appreciates yours. Huh? And how do you know he didn't appreciate my advice more? Are you that full of yourself? No. If I was full of myself, I would deliberately go out of my way to make everything I do overly cutesy. Is everyone okay? Zoom. Well, you know what? I wasn't the one whose boobs magically grew a size bigger as soon as Brady started showing up. My favorite line in the whole game, basically. It's just so fucking funny. Natsuki, it's just like such a call out. Natsuki, that's a little... This doesn't involve you. I don't like fighting, guys. Suddenly, both girls turned towards me, as if they just noticed I was standing there. Brady, she's just trying to make me look bad. That's not true. I'm totally trying to make her look bad. She started it. If she could get over herself and learn to appreciate that simple writing is more effective, then this wouldn't have happened in the first place. What's the point in making your poems all convoluted for no reason? The meaning should jump out at the reader, not force them to have to figure it out. Help me explain that to her, Brady. Wait. There's a reason we have so many deep and expressive words in our language. It's the only way to convey complex feelings and meaning the most effectively. Avoiding them is not only unnecessarily limiting yourself, it's also a waste. You understand that, right, Brady? Well, how did I get dragged into this into the first place? It's not like I know anything about writing, but whomever I agree with, they'll probably think highly of me. So of course, that's going to be, this time I'm going to choose Natsuki. Yuri, you're really talented. I'm about to say something that's going to upset you, though. Well, but Natsuki has a point. I think that I rack my brain in an attempt to back myself up. I think that conveying feelings with few words can be just as impressive as well. It lets the reader's imagination take over, and Natsuki's poem did a really good job at that. Yeah, it did, didn't it? Shows how much you know. She's just taking this as an opportunity to dogpile on her, which I can't blame her. I take all the shots I can at Anime Brady. But that's not a Natsuki. I think that's enough. Huh? Me? But she was so mean to me. Natsuki's voice whines. Look, what we talked about yesterday was right. Writing is a really personal thing, and sharing it can definitely be hard. It looks like we learned that today. Even small criticism can lead to something pretty heated. I glance over my shoulder. Sayori is nodding vigorously. Yeah, so you don't need to feel threatened. You're a great writer, Natsuki. Natsuki's voice gets caught in surprise. Thanks for noticing. She finally mutters that, barely audible. Yuri. Yuri looks at me dejectedly. With a face like that, I can't help but feel bad for her as well. I'm sure that Natsuki didn't mean everything she said, so you don't need to feel threatened either. This is good conflict resolution skills because you're doing all of the managing of like that misfire of language and paralanguage for people, which, like I said, is kind of what I'm doing in like couples therapy. Not that they're a couple or anything, or maybe they could be, who knows? It's not my place. But like, you're often doing this kind of mediation of trying to get to the heart of what people say and mean and find commonality. Because at the end of the day, you can see that these two people don't hate each other and have the capacity to get along if they just understood each other better. And so that's a lot of what Anime Brady is doing here. And these are moments where he really, really shines. It's just that using his intellect is really tiring. And then he needs to hibernate in a cave sometimes and becomes a fucking idiot. But right now, he's sparkling. Well, if you say so. Hey, it's not like you need to apologize for me, Brady. Sheesh. Natsuki takes a breath. The thing about, Natsuki glances around the room. Would everyone stop staring at me? Unsurprisingly, Natsuki has a harder time with it than she boasted. Sayori and Monika look away. Anyway, the thing about your boobs, I didn't mean it, okay? That's all. Natsuki looks away, avoiding eye contact with anyone. Damn, she just really went straight for the gut punch. Yeah, you're naturally beautiful, Yuri. Oh, Sayori coming in with a little bit of validation. Very sweet of her. Sayori. I'll go make some tea. I was just trying to help. I'm sure she appreciated it, Sayori. Pat Sayori on the shoulder. Oh. Well, now that we're past that, everyone's read each other's poems, right? I hope it was worthwhile for everyone, especially you, Brady. And to be honest, it's a nice change of pace from the lazing around we usually get used to. So my joining the club was responsible for ruining the atmosphere. No, not at all, not at all. There's still some time before we go home, so we'll all relax for a bit. Of course, besides chatting, we do literature-related things in the club room, so maybe you can take the chance to pick up a book or do some writing. After all, that's what the club is for. I disagree, Monika. About what? That's not the most important thing about literature club. The most important thing is having fun. Oh, it's so sweet. Cinnamon bun. Of course. Well, I guess that's why you're the vice president, Sayori. Oh, look at that. Capitalized vice president. I actually wonder if my call out about her using lowercase vice president with Yuri was an intentional slight on her due to the point in the story where we're in, or if it was just a typo. Or not a typo, but just a typing error. Who knows? In the end, though, Monika's right. Being in the literature club probably means I can't spend all my time doing nothing. But in the end, I guess it's been worth it so far. Okay, everyone. It's just about time for us to leave. How did you all feel about sharing poems? It was a lot of fun. Well, I guess I'd say it was worth it. It was all right. Oh, mostly. Brady, how about you? Yeah, I'd say the same. It was a neat thing to talk about with everyone. Awesome. In that case, we'll do the same thing tomorrow. And maybe you learn something from your friends, too. So your poems will turn out even better. I think to myself, I did learn a little bit more about the kinds of poems everyone likes. With any luck, that means I can at least do a better job impressing those I want to impress. I nod to myself with newfound determination. Brady, ready to walk home? Sure. Let's go. Sayori beams at me. It truly has been a while since Sayori and I have spent this much time together. I can't really say I'm not enjoying it either. You know what? This is the best part of having finished the playthrough and going through the missed content is I'm just gonna fucking decide to skip all the horrible stuff, okay? This is now Rogue Brady on his own canon route where nothing fucking bad happens to anybody. I will skip all of it because it's not actually happening. How about that? Sayori, about what happened earlier. What do you mean? You know, between Yuri and Natsuki, does that kind of thing happen often? No. That's really the first time I've seen them fight like that. I promise, they're both wonderful people. You don't hate them, do you? No, I don't hate them. I just wanted your opinion, that's all. I can see why they'd make good friends with you. You know, Brady, it's nice that I get to spend time with you in the literature club, but I think seeing you get along with everyone is what makes me the happiest. And I think everyone really likes you too. That's... Every day is going to be so much fun. It looks like Sayori still hasn't caught on to the kind of situation I'm in. Sure, being friends with everyone is nice, but does it really need to stop there? Well, we'll just have to see what the future holds, Sayori. I pat Sayori on the shoulder. I said that more to myself than to her, but it's easy to use Sayori as an internal monologue sometimes. Okay. Yeah. Let's do this. Okay. This is fun. I'm having so much fun. Why? Because I know nothing bad is going to happen. I can just stop. I can just stop anytime I want. And you can't all hurt me anymore. by leading me on and saying, no, Brady, you have to keep playing. You have to keep talking about this. Just you wait. I don't want to give you the wrong paralanguage. I do not blame you, loving community, for sending me into this dark, twisted world. I have only myself to blame for listening to you all. But no, this has been a true joy. Yeah, I'm really excited to see the rest with the stakes being as low as they are, which is just to have fun, just to learn more about people, get some insight. Speaking of that, a little insight right there. That's a Brady word. And I also wanted to say thank you to everyone who gave me such positive feedback on my little poem in the finale of the series there. Just like Anime Brady, that was my first poem. I probably wrote a poem at some point in my life, but certainly the first poem I've written since I can remember. And what can I say? I just was very inspired by the game and all of the lovely feedback and stories that people have shared about how they've connected with this series and this game. And so I'm having a lot of fun. And also thank you to many of the people who also started like sharing their own poems. It's like such an adorable interaction that I've enjoyed so much. It's like a little literature club. Now that we're past all the trauma, we can just enjoy the creative space. And I love that. So thank you. So we're going to pause here, and then we'll continue along the Natsuki route. And then we will stop before things get awful. So, that all said, thank you for watching. I'll see you again soon.